What was the political system during the times of Kautilya? It was called monarchy. Now let us understand the meaning of the term monarchy. Monarchy comes from the word mono, which means single person. So that means monarchy can be said as rule by a single person. Now, what are the other features of a monarchy? In case of a monarchy, the three organs of the state, which are legislature, executive and judiciary, they are all under one person, that is the king, right? So what we can say that in case of a monarchy, the king legislates, the king performs the executive function and the king performs the function of judiciary also, which means the king is the one who frames laws, the king is the one who implements laws and the king is the one who sits on the judgments. Now from this we come to another feature of monarchy, that is there is no rule of law. In case of monarchy, there is no rule of law. Why? Because the essence of rule of law is that there should be separation of powers between the three organs of the state, which are legislature, executive and judiciary. Whereas in case of monarchy, there is no separation of powers between these three organs because the same person is taking care of these three organs, right? Like as we can say in our country, these three organs of the state are separate. Legislature is separate, executive is separate, judiciary is separate, right? But in case of monarchy, all these three organs are under one person, that is the king. So now, what happens? Because in case of monarchy, there is no rule of law. So what happens to the people who are living under such regime? The people, they are treated as subjects to be governed. The people are treated as subjects to be governed, and from this we arrive at another feature, that the people, they don't have any fundamental rights in case of a monarchy. Because they are treated as subjects to be governed, the people, they don't have any fundamental rights. And now we can compare this monarchy with a democracy. How it is different from a democracy? In case of a democracy, the people are not treated as subjects, whereas they are the citizens, right? And they have fundamental rights. That is a stark difference between a monarchy and a democracy, right? So in case of monarchy, we can say that the people are treated as subjects and they don't have any fundamental rights. Now, this is what we call as the political system. Monarchy is the political system that was prevailing during the times of Kautilya, right? Accordingly, there is another aspect that we say the administrative system means who all are the administrators that are appointed by the king. Because the king is having all the powers, that's why the king will be appointed all the administrators, right? So now the point comes how they are appointed. That is the main point of concern. They are appointed by a system called a spoil system. What do we mean by spoil system? In this, only those people are appointed by the king who are loyal to the king or they are very close to the king. Only those people. No qualifications, no experience is required. Only this particular attribute is required, that the people, they should be loyal to the king or they should be very close to the king, which is called as the spoils system. Now, in such a scenario, what are the functions performed by the king? The king performs only regulatory functions. Which are these? It is divided into two parts. One thing is maintenance of law and order. One thing is maintenance of law and order and other thing is generation of revenue. These are the two regulatory functions that the king used to perform during that time. Why these are the two main functions? When we talk about monarchy, in that scenario, the credibility of the king, it used to depend upon the king's ability to protect the lives of the people as well as their properties, right? For that he had to maintain the law and order, right? He had also to protect his kingdom from external aggression. So to perform all these functions, he needed money, right? So with this comes the second duty of the king, that is the generation of revenue. Now, the question comes, how a person used to become a king in a monarchy? There were two ways. One way was through heredity, that means the son of a king will become the king, or a person defeats the existing ruler and becomes the king. So, two ways. One thing is through heredity and other by defeating the king. Now, another aspect that comes here is, in case for monarchy, the king did not focus to maximize the welfare of the people. He did not focus on that. Why? Because the king was not elected and he was not accountable to the people. So accordingly, he was not obliged to maximize the welfare of the people. Now, when we compare this with the democracy, in case of democracy, what happens? Because the rulers, they are elected by the people. So that's why they are accountable to the people and they are obliged to maximize the welfare of the people. So in this way, we can say that monarchy is different from a democracy. Now, let us recap what I have told you today. I started with what was the political system that existed during the time of Kautilya, which was called as monarchy, right? The political system. And I told you about the meaning of monarchy, how it came up from the word mono, which means single person. So monarchy means ruled by a single person. In this, there is no rule of law, right? Because the legislative, executive and judicial powers, they are with one person, that is the king. And accordingly, the people are treated as subjects and not citizens, and they don't have any fundamental rights. This is one of the aspects. Other thing is regarding the functions of the king that we have discussed, that the king performs regulatory functions, which are maintenance of law and order and generation of revenue, right? I have told you the reason why these are the two main functions that the king used to perform, because this was the most important job that the king used to have, maintenance of law and order, because his credibility depended upon this. And to maintain this law and order, keep his kingdom secure, he needed money. So another aspect of his job came up as generation of revenue. Then I told you about the difference between the monarchy and democracy. One thing was related to subjects and citizens. In democracy, the people are treated as citizens and they have fundamental rights, whereas in case of monarchy, the people are treated as subjects and they don't have fundamental rights. Another point was that in case of a monarchy, the king is not obliged to maximize the welfare of the people because the king is not elected, whereas in case of a democracy, the rulers are elected, so they are accountable to the people, so they are obliged to maximize the welfare of the people. So in today's session, I have told you in general about the concept of monarchy. I hope this concept is clear to everyone. So that's all for today's session. Take care and all the best.